how family constellations ties into this is that 95% of what's driving our daily choices and our compensating tendencies and our defense mechanisms, that 95% was formed during our upbringing, predominantly in the first 7 years of our life. You know, in the first 7 years of our life, as we are figuring out who we are in the world, we are learning from our caretakers. It's usually our mother and our father, but not always. Sometimes our caretakers are other people. Maybe we didn't have parents growing up, but we are learning about life from our caretakers in those first 7 years. Am I lovable? Am I seen? Am I validated? Am I worthy? Do I belong? And all the neglects, abuse, betrayal, abandonments, and trauma, etc., that we've experienced forms part of our reality about who we perceive ourselves to be in this world. That is our belief system that forms part of our identity, which then shapes our subconscious conditioning. And all of that was shaped by your family system. Okay, so when we talk about family constellations as a modality, it's not necessarily directly linked to all of your family members. Sometimes we do constellation processes where it's not even about your family, but we call it family constellations or systemic constellations because a lot of the patterning that is impacting our physical life and our physical reality comes from the family system. Okay. So what family constellations is, it's a modality for identifying and releasing deeply held and suppressed traumas, energetic entanglements, emotional entanglements. We talk about energetic entanglements through our upbringing, and what these energetic entanglements typically might look like. It's things like resentments. You know, maybe we were raised with an alcoholic father or an absent mother, and then there's this resentment. How could my dad do that to me? How could my mother do that to me? How could they have been so abusive? And the strong judgment, resentment, and lack of forgiveness for the pain that was caused creates energy. It creates an energy entanglement that impacts us. We feel self-righteous that, no, I can't forgive that person because what they did was wrong. Yes, what they did was wrong, but you have to let go of it for it not to impact you. So it creates an energetic entanglement. Another form of entanglement, I'm going to explain the modality in a moment, which will make sense of how we use these entanglements or how we work through them in the actual modality itself. But just to give you examples of entanglements, another one would be, for example, trauma, just being traumatized through a very painful experience growing up. And then there can be what we can refer to as soul loss, a splintering off of a part of yourself, where the trauma could potentially have been so painful that in order to survive it, it had to be buried out of your pain body, out of your, or should I say, not out of your pain body, but hidden within your pain body so that you don't have to feel it. And through the burying of these traumas, there's a splintering off. We lose a part of ourselves. And that can often lead to things like depression, feeling empty inside, which then leads to other behaviors like addictive tendencies, things to try and cope. So these are all energetic imbalances. Another form of entanglement would be, for example, where you take on someone else's pain and you don't even do it at a conscious level. You know, language isn't the only language we speak. In fact, energy speaks long before language does. You know, when you walk into a room, there are energetic language transfers taking place or energetic communications taking place long before the spoken language. So as a young child, you might be witnessing your mother's pain because maybe she's going through a really rough time, or your grandmother's pain. And at a young age, you go, I don't want gran to suffer, or I don't want mom to suffer. I want to fix it. I want to heal it. It's my fault. I'm doing this to them. Maybe you feel responsible and you start taking it on. You start taking it on, not even realizing it's not a thought process. This is all happening at the energetic level. And you end up being energetically entangled with the emotional, sometimes even the physical pain of other family members. And then, of course, there's a very common one, and that is not being in your rightful place within your family system, which also creates a massive energetic entanglement that can have a ripple effect in all of your family relationships and your intimate relationships in your own family as an adult. An example of that might be where, as a young child, one of your parents is missing. It could be emotionally or physically absent. Okay, it doesn't have to be physically absent. It could be a mom or a dad who is so caught up in their own stuff from their own past that they aren't fully present for their family. They don't know how to fulfill their role as a mother or a father properly. Or it could be physically absent, where they literally disappear out of the family household. And as a young child, you might be the eldest, or you might simply be what we call the healer in the family, and you then just subconsciously take on the role. It's like, dad's not here, someone's got to step up. And again, it's not always a thought process. It's a just deep desire to make things right, to fix it, to sort it out. And at a young age, you step into dad's role. You know, you're not sitting in your rightful place as number two let's say there's 3 siblings, you're the middle one, you're no longer in your rightful place. As the second born sibling, you're now sitting in dad's role, trying to keep the household together. And that can create massive entanglements and conflict in relationships, both with your siblings, and of course, later on, when you embark on your own adventure with family and relationships. Because of the entanglement, you can't fully show up in your rightful place because you don't have access to your rightful place. You haven't claimed it. So what we do with family constellations is we work through the energetic entanglements to get everyone back in their rightful place, to hand back burdens that we've taken on, to heal trauma, to release suppressed emotion. There's a lot going on in the family constellation, but it's really a form of energy work.